Good morning and a very big welcome to Alison Matthews, who's going to help us today and tell us how to make more time in our life so that we can work more efficiently. Thank you for coming, Alison, and I can't wait to hear your presentation.
Thank you very much, Sinead, and thanks for asking me to speak for the MA Network. So today we're going to talk about tips to make more time and work more efficiently. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alison Matthews. I'm a virtual assistant and the owner of VirtuAli Admin Solutions. And the aim of my business is to take your admin pain away. I am a virtual assistant. Virtual assistants all have different specialities, but I help business owners look at their processes about where they could automate and streamline and make more, plan better and essentially have less admin. That's what I am here to help you to do. So if you are listening to the replay of this presentation later and you have any questions, you can pop them in the Facebook group, or you can send me a private message on my VirtuAli Admin Solutions Facebook page as well. So we're just going to get started. And part of the reason why I mentioned the word efficiency in the title of this presentation is because efficiency is so important to us as business owners. We always complain, we never have enough time, there never seems to be enough hours in the day. But the reality is we all have the same amount of hours, we all have, the same amount of hours. It's just that some people use their time better and work more efficiently. And efficiency really is all about maximum output with minimum input, which of course is what we all want to strive for. But the thing about efficiency is if you're working efficiently, eventually if you have systems in place and you've automated some things and you've got rid of some admin processes that you don't really even need to do, that frees up your time. And when you have more free time, then you have more brain space to really think, okay, what am I doing in my business? You're out of that admin sort of nitty gritty and you're at that kind of higher level where you're thinking strategically about where you want to go and the services you want to provide and maybe who you want to collaborate with and things like that. And that means that when you're in your sort of zone of genius and you're doing the thing in your business that you started your business for in the first place, which might be coaching or dog walking or matchmaking, whatever it happens to be, that you're living your passion and you're doing that, and that's the high worth part of your business, and essentially you're making more money, which of course none of us are ever going to scoff at. So we're going to talk about 5 tips today. This presentation is just about 10 minutes. Obviously I can't cover everything in this, but it's just a bit of an overview. So the 5 tips we're going to go through today are taking time out to plan, making habits, spending your time wisely, looking at the bigger picture, and getting help. Planning is super important and is a linchpin really for everything else. And myself and Sinead were talking before this call about how, we're in August now, which is crazy, but, already for Christmas, if you're someone who has products, you want to go to Christmas fairs, you're maybe selling gifts online that people want for Christmas, like you need to be doing so much planning already now to be ready for Christmas. But from a planning point of view, it's very useful to make a checklist of your priorities. That would be the first thing I would tell you to do, to work out in your week. Okay, what client work do I have to do this week? What are the deadlines for each? What do I need to do? That you work that out first, and then you work out, okay, well, how much time do I need for all the other business maintenance? So, for networking, for your own marketing, to do your admin, for your finance, and keeping on top of things like that. So you make that list of priorities. And then at the end of every week that you're forward planning, for the week, the month ahead, and you take the time on a Friday afternoon or Sunday evening, whenever suits you best, to actually go, okay, this is what I have in the week ahead, and this is what I need to do. And I think from that point of view, it's also very useful, depending on your family situation, to talk to your family and see what other commitments there are in the diary. And, over the summer, obviously, you've maybe got kids, summer school, you're maybe a grandparent looking after your grandkids, and there's lots of other things going on in your life. So you need to have that plan of, okay, what am I doing every day? When am I out? When am I in? When can I get my work done? And the other important thing to plan in is actually time to recharge. And that's very important at busy times of year. So you might be in retail or in the wellness industry and know, for example, that Christmas is going to be busy. And, you know, around Mother's Day and periods like that, you might be an accountant and you know that, you know, the self-assessment returns have to be put in at certain dates. And it's really, really good to build in recharge time around that as well. So you have a bit of a break and you're able to recharge your batteries. And the last tip on that is when you have your list of priorities, that you actually block time in your diary and you put in your online calendar, please, not on a post-it note around your desk or in a little notebook, but you put it in your online calendar. This is what I have to do. And with Outlook and Gmail, you can put, you know, the little flags with priority, you can put the date in, you can put extra notes for yourself. So it's in the diary and it's there as a sort of permanent reminder, or you can put it in a project management tool. And I have some videos about how to use Asana and Trello as well. So that's tip number 1, planning. And as part of that, and I mentioned it slightly there, it's really good to block time in your diary. So you've blocked the time for the client work, you've blocked the time for the business maintenance, and it's very good also to block the time for you to work on the strategic parts of your business. So to actually think, okay, maybe I want to launch an online course, maybe I'm setting up an agency with other people and you need to be chipping away every week to make that happen. So if you actually block that time in your diary, you're much more likely to do it when it's there and sort of popping up in front of you. Another important thing is to work with your own body clock and to do, you know, if you're like for creative tasks, that you do that when you have the most energy. So it might be you're a morning person and you get up and write your blog or, you know, whatever happens to be first thing, or you might be a night owl and actually you love doing things like that at night, but you work with your body clock because at the end of the day, you know, most of us became self-employed because we wanted more flexibility in how we were working, and we want to build a business that suits us, not just, you know, that we're sort of a slave to it in a way. So we're moving on now to the second tip, which is all about making habits. And making habits is also a very important part of sort of working efficiently in your business, because you want to be in that routine that you're doing things consistently. And once you get into that mindset that, you know, you do a certain thing weekly, a daily, a certain thing weekly, certain things monthly, that you're more in control and there's less of this kind of firefighting and rushing from one thing to the next because you haven't things done. And I think your self-assessment tax return probably is a good example of that. You don't want to be leaving all of that to like the 20th of January to do. And I've made here a sort of pillar I call it with examples of daily tasks that you can do, weekly tasks and monthly tasks. And if you have for the daily, for example, that you know that you're checking your emails only a couple of times, every time, you know, a notification comes up, that you have your notifications off, that you're working in focused sort of 45-minute slots on different things, that you're going out also and getting fresh air at least 30 minutes a day, that you have that sort of routine of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then you have your weekly task and your monthly task. And when you have that whole plan, I think you feel a lot more in control of your business and a lot less overwhelmed, which of course is what we all want to feel. And the third tip then is about identifying your time sucks. So it's very difficult, you know, we're running a business, but we also may be mums or others like myself. I'm an auntie to 2 madcap little boys, and there's a lot of stuff in our business that takes up our time, but there also might be a lot of things in your private life. And it's really good to look at what really is taking up the time in your life. And if you actually sat down and reviewed for a week how much time you're spending in business, how much time you're spending at home, and maybe other commitments that you don't really realize that are taking up so much time. So you might be volunteering, you might be on a committee. And I have used since the start of my business a time tracking device called Toggle. I think it's still free. I've had mine for a long time, so I have the free version, but it's really good because you have a little timer, you go in, you maybe put on it, you know, say you're doing your monthly newsletter, you say writing blog, you give it a tag, which is marketing, you put your timer on when you start, you put your timer on when you stop, but you do that for everything. And at the end of the week, it'll email you how many hours you spent on each thing. So it's a really good way to look at actually how much client work you should be doing, which should be obviously the main thing. And then maybe how much networking, how much marketing, etc. And then you can look at the gaps of where you're doing too much and maybe where you're doing too little. So that's really good to toggle. It's a bit like my fitness pal for fitness. It's the same sort of idea. And once you've looked at sort of planning, once you've looked at making habits, once you've looked about where you're spending or wasting your time, it's then you sort of can have a really good overview and give yourself that brain space to look at the helicopter view of your business, which is really where you want to be, the strategic sort of end of your business. And to really always be questioning yourself, you know, why did you start your business in the first place? Was it because you love coaching or cooking, or you wanted to have a network? And that's where your main energy wants to go. And what are the services and products that you're going to help you make money? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? How do you want to exit? And obviously with the whole pandemic crisis that we've had, a lot of us have had to pivot, that awful word, but we've had to pivot to survive. And it's about having the brain space to do that, because if you're sort of in all this sort of tunnel vision of doing, it's very hard to stop and sort of step back a little bit and see where you're really going. And so the last tip then is about getting help. And I think a lot of us get to the stage in our business that there just becomes a point where you cannot do everything yourself. You can't be wearing all the multi hats. And it's time to reach out and get some help. And I know that's very scary. It's very scary to think, okay, someone else is coming into my business and you've all those questions. How am I going to share information with them? What am I going to get them to do? How much is it going to cost me? You know, how much time do I have to spend to train someone up? But you always have to think of the bigger picture and about you having time to work on the core thing and your zone of genius. And a good way to start, if you're not sure where to start and actually what you could outsource, is to identify the tasks that are sort of eaten into your zone of genius, and to think about the tasks that you're no good at, the tasks that you hate doing, the tasks that take too long to learn how to do. For example, building a website, you know, you could, but it might take you all the time. And sometimes, which I don't have listed here, it's also the tasks that you love doing. So you could actually be one of those people who love making lists, or you love going into Canva and making lovely images, but you're spending like 3/4 of your week doing that when somebody else could be doing it at half the time. So think about those tasks, you know, that are taking up a lot of your time that someone else could do, and then go about looking to see who can help you to do that. And it might be a virtual assistant, it might be a bookkeeper, it might be a digital marketer. You know, there are lots of people out there to help you, especially within the MA network. And if you're quite not sure, you know, how to go about finding the best fit, obviously the best thing to do is to ask within your networking groups if people can recommend others. You go on to that person's Facebook page or Google business page or LinkedIn and see the testimonials other people have left them. And then you arrange an interview face-to-face or via Zoom. And at the interview, you also bring a checklist of sort of things that you think that you need help with, how they're going to do that, you know, how you're going to share information and all the rest. And then you have a contract in place that both of you sign, and you stipulate very clearly in that what the budget is, what the tasks are. And if you have a, you know, a good virtual assistant or bookkeeper or anybody else, a freelance person like that, normally they will stipulate to you, can we share information like this? Can we set up a OneDrive folder or a Google Drive folder? And they will actually prompt you to give you, for you to give them the information that they need to get started. So those are the 5 tips that I have today: taking time out to plan, making habits, spending time wisely, thinking about the bigger picture, and getting help. And, you know, I love being outside. Many of you might know I love being out in the mountains. I actually have hardly been out in the mountains at all this year. I was up, I think I overdid it last year, and I did the seven peaks. Did I do 7? 7 peaks in 7 weeks to raise money for PIPs in Lurgan. And I love to be out wild water swimming. I was actually out this morning at 8 o'clock, which was lovely. And I'm a keen reader, and I love community garden projects as well. So Castle Ward are renovating their walled garden, which hopefully will start in August, and they're looking for volunteers. So hopefully I'll go along to that, and that will help me make some new friends in Strangford as well, because I only moved here in January this year. So what are you going to do with your extra time? You can let me know. And if you need any help, please do pop me an email. And for ways to work with me, you can book a free non-obligation discovery call. And that's really maybe to look at how to streamline your processes. Maybe you're just feeling overwhelmed, you don't know where to start. You can book a call with me for that. I have a Get Organised with Ali Facebook group, which we have a different theme every month around being organised and working efficiently. Last month we were talking about habits, actually. You can sign up to my online course, Jumpstart Your Efficiency, which has 4 modules around time management, tools and integrations, how to delegate, and organising your online structure. And I'm actually doing a course, a bit deeper delve into that I'll hopefully have up by September as well. And last year, sort of before Christmas last year, along with 9 other virtual assistants in Northern Ireland, I made a 10-part video series, how to work more efficiently and transform your business. And that's every virtual assistant has a different speciality. So we have someone about social media management, someone about video creation, someone about how to make presentations. And that's on my YouTube channel as well. So you can subscribe to that. And these are all my social media channels if you want to follow me there. So thank you very much. I hope that some of those tips do help you make more time. And I'm always here to take your admin pain away. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alison. That's great. Do you know what I loved about that is about thinking what you can do with your time whenever you're not wasting it. Do you know, which is, you know, I'm definitely a sucker for being on Canva all day long, creating workbooks that maybe I may use or may not use, or don't know when I might eventually get them uploaded, and because I like doing it, but it's not sometimes productive, and it's not maybe something that needs to be done right away, but it's great to, you know, think about the things you can do and the way you can use your time better. That's not always in your business, but because we do want to create that better work-life balance. So thank you so much for that. That was great.
No worries.